Hi friends, and welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. My name is Amanda, and today is finally the day we are planting out my garden. So today is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to those of you who are here. It is a beautiful day. It's slightly overcast. It's still sunny enough that I'm squinting so much, but it is beautiful nonetheless. I'm gonna get everything planted today. I do still have quite a few plants that I am giving away to a few friends and my sister. She mentioned to me the other day, she's like, I want some colorful tomatoes. I want some colorful tomatoes. So I sent her a video of all of the different varieties that I have because I do have a handful of colorful tomatoes. And then I have, some typical red tomatoes. So we're gonna see what all we can get planted today. I have to be wary of the snakes. I have a ton of garter snakes that are just making theirself right at home. The plan is to get my vertical trellis in my top bed right here up, and then to get tomatoes and peppers planted. I still need to do just a little bit of work on this brick bed right here. I want to go ahead and try to straighten up my border that I created with the bricks, and then I need to pull a bunch of stuff, as well as I need to top dress, or I want to top dress with some compost. I still have my mushroom compost / soil mixture from Bazak's, as well as a bag and a half, I think, of the Garden Magic compost, straight compost, that I got from Funky's. Not their brand, but purchased from there. So there's tons of things that need to be done. I did get my medicinal leaf vertical planter, Greenstalk planter, filled up, leveled, watered, and planted. So that guy's all set. There are still a few pockets on that guy that need to be filled, but one step at a time. So I'm gonna probably set you guys up somewhere in the garden so I can get to work, put some headphones in, and just kind of get to planting, getting things set up, and yeah, have a beautiful little time in the garden. I told myself I was going to take footage of me planting stuff, and I did not. So I'm not fully planted out yet, but I did finish quite a few projects, which is good. I'm still getting there, and I'm going to do a couple more before I call it a night, because it has been a very long day. I went ahead and I finished planting out my entire pepper bed. There are still just a few peppers in that little flat right there that I'm going to be planting on my balcony. And I really just think it's just one pepper. I'm going to be doing my pimento pepper up there just because that does not get a ton of sunlight, but I wanted to at least plant one pepper plant up on the balcony. But look at this pepper bed. So I have my peppers spaced about a foot apart from one another. They're kind of interspersed, so instead of it just being like a 4-point thing, it's 4 points plus one in the center, but still being enough distance between those. And I do need to give these a good water because some of them are looking kind of sad, but they'll perk right back up once I give them some water. I am going to plant a few herbs and maybe some flowers intermingling in this bed. And then I'm going to go ahead and top it with my, what is this? Pine straw, just to keep the moisture in. And then I planted my super spicy peppers right here. I have, those two, and then I have like my towels on the edge of this bed. We'll see what happens. I've heard things of, at least when seed saving, if you plant a super hot spicy pepper next to one that is sweet, the seeds could be cross-pollinated and you could get no longer a sweet pepper but something that is spicy. I haven't decided if I'm saving seeds yet. We will see. If I do, I will go ahead and make sure that I tie them off with an organza bag, so a mesh bag, before they're flowers open, and then hand pollinate them, just so I know that those peppers are true to the parent plant. Oh, which by the way, I have an experiment that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So there is a thing going around, which is probably not new whatsoever, whether or not you should chop the top of your pepper plants off or not. Let me clean my... Okay, so in both of these are exactly the same soil, same plant container, same depth, pretty much everything. They are exactly the same type of pepper. They're both the Death Spiral, which is that super spicy pepper, which I'm super excited about. But the only difference is that this plant has not been pruned back and this one has. So you can kind of see that little node where it was cut off, and it is now setting off 2 liters. So we've got this guy, and then we have this one, which is a lot larger than this guy. But nonetheless, he is bigger and fuller than this one, and they were both started at the exact same time. So we'll see which one produces more peppers. Either way, both of these peppers are going to be used for creating a powder that I'm going to then sprinkle on plants so that my squirrel friends who love to live in my backyard will stay away from certain plants when I dust them with this pepper powder, which, by the way, there's a little spider friend up there. When I was looking at the website, I think it's M.I. Gardner that I got the Death Spiral peppers off of. In the comment section, I'll see if I can find a screenshot of it. There was someone who said that they made pepper powder out of the Death Spiral pepper, and it was like the dust of death is what they deemed it. And I am so there for that. That I think I'm gonna take that with mentions to those who created that name, and I'm gonna use that because I think it's just so perfect for the squirrels. Dust of death. What do you guys think? Oh, which, another thing. So I think my backyard, previous to me being an owner here, and probably even further back than the previous owner before me, they were such big beer drinkers. And I only say this because I can't tell you how many bottle caps I find in my gardening spaces every single year. Every single year I find new ones. And I really wish I would have like made a jar and just like kept them all, because I just think it's so weird and funny. Like, you just couldn't throw it in the trash. Just threw it in the garden. So I collected 3 more of those today. I did finish planting out my medicinal herb or garden Greenstalk. I went ahead and seeded some Sweet Annie. The seeds are super tiny, or wormwood. This plant did not survive me starting it inside. So I seeded it in 2 pockets. We'll see how it does. I went ahead and pre-moistened the soil and then spread the seeds on top because I wonder if I can find it. It's either, nope, it's in this other one right here. So this is the Sweet Annie or wormwood that I started, and it's just, I think it's a goner. I don't know. I did find a few other medicinal herbs when I was planting this out that I didn't plant out initially. It was my stevia candy, which is like, you know, alternative sweetener, and then also hyssop, and what was the other wood? Wood betony. So I went ahead and planted those out, and with the seeding of the Sweet Annie, that tower is completely filled out, which is so good. And then lastly, I finished my tomato stock. Look at it. So there is one mistake that I made. And I think I've talked about this, is that you really need to see your gardening space in all stages throughout the season, because the sunlight changes depending on if you have trees. If you have a big open plain, you don't need to worry about the sunlight, because, well, maybe you have to worry about too much sunlight. I thought I had picked a great spot for my tomato stock? I don't know that I did. By midday, this little puff of trees up here, which it's not much because most of those trees up there are dead. It just gives just enough sun coverage or shade for that tomato stalk that around 1 or 2 in that afternoon, my tomato stalk has shade. The only upside is that because the sun is setting this way, because my house is not right there, the sun does reach it towards the late afternoon. So maybe it will make up for the fact that it's getting shaded around midday. So there's that. I have not finished planting all of my tomatoes. I still have so many tomatoes left to plant. So I have these three pallets or flats left, and yeah, I still have these left. I am still giving away a few tomato plants here and there. I need to grab another one for my sister. She asked for another colorful variety. But I have this bed and that bed for tomatoes, as well as like some random 15 gallon, whatever those are, planters. So I think what I'm gonna do is plant my tomatillos in like these 2 squares right here. And then I'm gonna put my ground cherries, pineapple ground cherries, in this little area, and then just kind of fill in with some other odds and ends. I do have a few tomato cages that I can probably pop up just for some but my tomatoes are indeterminate, so they really just continue to grow throughout the season for as long as the weather permits and as pests permit. So after a certain point, those tomato cages are gonna be kind of worthless, but it'll at least keep them up and off of the soil. And then I was able to get up my tomato wall trellis. This was pretty simple. I thought I was going to need some help, but I was actually able to get this up by myself. I just drove the T-posts into the ground before I brought this out, and then kind of leaned on it in the center while zip tying a top tie. And then on this side, it is kind of resting. Yeah, this part is kind of resting on the top of this, so it made it really easy. But I think what I'm gonna do is have a row of indeterminate tomatoes along this, just to get them to grow up. And then I'll just put a second row in the front and just let them be crazy. Get in the walkways, be crazy. And then I planted some loofah seeds, which I think are starting to come up. I think that's what these guys are, having little birthdays. I don't know if these are it or not though, but I did plant my loofah seeds along this side of the trellis. And then I'm gonna go ahead and plant some Kajari melons along this side. I need to pull a few weeds just to make some room, but I'm gonna put them on this side, and then we're gonna have a big, beautiful trellis of Kajari melons and loofahs. And then what is left? Oh, the most exciting part, the Sunflower Steve seeds. So I got a package of Sunflower Steve's Van Gogh Fantasy Mix. And being the squirrel lover that I am already preemptively thinking, how am I going to protect these seeds with the utmost, utmost of my ability that I possibly can, so that I can make sure that these grow. I really want these to grow. I did sow a few Titan and Mammoth sunflower seeds in my tulip bed, which is not visible. He is back there somewhere. And the squirrels freaking dug them up. They dug them up already, and I'm just I'm ready for the dust to death. So I'm gonna plant these guys in this little 2x2 fabric planter right here, and I've got some chicken wire that I kind of have wrapped around. I'm gonna reinforce this. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be sure that I get some Sunflower Steve Van Gogh flowers this season, because I am so excited about these flowers. Well, I'm excited about all my flowers. I got all my flowers planted today. I am excited for the entire garden. It looks phenomenal. I can't believe that this is what my backyard looks like right now. And it didn't look like this when I first moved in here. It was very, very bland, lots of weeds, and now I have fruits and veggies and so much more growing back here. So let's finish today's video and get these guys planted and squirrel protected. So hopefully there are no snakes. Definitely bugs. Okay, so with the Sunflower Steve sunflowers, he recommended 2 to 4 inches for spacing. The further away that you space them, the taller and bigger that they'll grow. The closer that you space them, the smaller they will be. If you want cut flowers for a vase in your kitchen, or in your dining, or wherever in your house, you'll go ahead, it'll be better to space those seeds closer together because you'll get smaller blooms faster. So these guys, I'm gonna go with the 4-inch spacing, and I'm gonna stagger them. So again, with that like square with a dot in the center, that's what I'm going for. Or like the domino with the 5, that's what we want. 4 corners and a center. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm gonna start, I think, with the back 2 squares. It has 4 squares. We're gonna start with the back 2 squares, fill up the back 2 squares, and see where we are after that. And I am doing this entire package of Sunflower Steve seeds. The goal is to go ahead and actually save seeds from these if the squirrels don't get to them first, which they're not gonna get to them. We're just gonna put it out there into the world. No squirrels are getting my Sunflower Steve seeds. Okay, so first 2 squares are planted. I'm gonna go ahead and actually plant the whole bed with this sunflower seed mix. So I'm just kind of messing up the soil surface just so that it's a little softer. All right guys, so hopefully you guys can see these little holes. So I've got 3 here and then kind of an off-centered. I went ahead and filled the entire thing. These guys over here are a little spaced a little bit further apart. I'm really hoping that this works. I really hope it does. I went ahead and actually gifted, I had bought 2 packages of the Sunflower Steve Van Gogh Fantasy Mix, and I gifted another packet, my other packet, to my sister, and I told her to guard it with her life and make sure the squirrels didn't get them. She probably will have better luck than me because she kind of lives further out into the country than I do, has a little more space than I do. Well, she has a lot more space than I do, but there it is. So we are all finished planting our Sunflower Steve seeds. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you want to go ahead and watch any of my other content, I'll go ahead and throw a video up here for you. But until the meantime, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.